Hello and welcome to another Draw With Me in Procreate. Today we are going to draw a stack of pancakes because it is National Pancake Day today. By the time you're watching this, it was actually yesterday, but that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and draw some pancakes. So let's go. The first thing I'm going to do is go to unsplash.com so that I can look up a stack of pancakes. These are royalty-free images and they are great for using as reference photos for your stickers. So now the problem is choosing a picture to use as our inspiration and reference photo. I want a traditional stack of pancakes, and I also want to be able to see all of the beautiful yummy syrup and butter that's on top. I love how thick and fluffy these pancakes look, so we're gonna go ahead and use that as our inspiration. I'm holding down and I'm going to click on Add to Photos, and when I get back into Procreate, I can go ahead and use the Insert a Photo, or I can use the reference photo here. I'm gonna go ahead and insert the photo. I just like using that reference better. So we're gonna go ahead and pick our pancake stack. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger so that I can see it nicely, and there we go. All right, so we went ahead and created a new layer on top of our reference layer, and now we're going to start drawing our pancakes. So I'm going to start with the top pancake, and then I'm going to work my way down. And it doesn't matter where I draw on my canvas. Since our picture is on another layer, we can go ahead and turn it on and off as we would like. So we're going to go ahead and start out with an uneven oval, and I'm doing that because pancakes themselves are very uneven and they have a lot of texture and fluff to them. So I don't want this to be a perfect stack of pancakes. I really want it to have that hand-drawn feel. And as we always do, I'm going to go ahead and sketch out what I want it to look like first, and then I'm going to go back through and redo a little bit and add some more definition and details. So here's the next pancake. And you can see on these pancakes, there's definitely two different styled layers. There is the top layer that's the nice golden brown that hits the griddle, and then there's the side that stays nice and white and fluffy. So I definitely want to keep those layers intact. All right, then we're gonna kind of draw in our butter. And don't forget that cascading syrup. All right, so there's kind of a rough draft of what we're looking for. So now I want to make sure that I get it onto a plate too. So I'm going to move this up a little bit, and then we're going to draw the plate behind it. And the plate is going to be a pretty steady circle. So let's try it again. Make it a little smaller too. Let's go ahead and put it on its own layer so that we can move it around. And we're gonna make it definitely a great oval shape. I want to go ahead and tweak this a little bit, and we're going to use the freeform. So I'm going to hit the selection tool, the arrow, and then I have freeform selected so I can kind of drag it in the position that I really want it. So I think I like it about there. And I'm going to add a little bit more definition. We're just going to go ahead and add like this inner plate to it right there. So it kind of gives us the lip and the base. All right. I think that is looking pretty good for our rough draft. Now we're going to go ahead and combine those two layers by pinching them together. I'm going to hit the N, and I'm going to turn the opacity down a little bit so that I really have a good shadow to trace over when I'm going to go ahead and get my actual pancake started. So I do want to turn down my brush just a tiny bit, and we're going to get going on these pancakes. our stack and our plate, I'm gonna go ahead and add a new layer on top of the stack, and this is going to be for the syrup. And now I'm gonna go ahead and draw another layer on top of that, and that's gonna be for our butter. All right, now we're ready to start coloring in. I'm gonna go ahead and delete my sketch layer, so I just have my pancake layer now. And we're gonna take our color palette from the actual pancake stack. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this yummy yellow color for my butter, and I'm gonna start on the top and work my way down this time. So I'm gonna put a color layer underneath the butter layer, and we're gonna start there. Grab this darker butter color, and we're just gonna come in and add a little shading and definition. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna alpha lock this butter layer because I want to Gaussian blur it, but I don't want it to blur outside the color line. So that's why we're turning alpha lock on. We're gonna come over to adjustments, Gaussian blur, layer, and then we're just going to blend it together. Look at that blend. It's so gorgeous. Now we're gonna grab that yummy syrup color, and I'm looking for a nice deep golden color. And you gotta be a little careful because it's gonna wanna grab that color underneath. So we're gonna actually come down to the plate and grab this nice syrupy color here. Now we're gonna make another layer under our syrup layer and color that in. Remember about syrup is it's translucent. You can see through the syrup to the pancake. So I'm going to click on the blend mode, which is the N of the syrup layer. I'm gonna turn the opacity down a little bit so that it looks a little bit more liquidy like syrup. You can see through it. It's viscous. So there we go. Now we're gonna go ahead and add a layer underneath our pancake layer, and we're gonna start coloring that in. So I'm gonna choose a base color, which is kind of like this light golden color here. We're gonna start there, and then we're gonna go ahead and add in our shadows and shading after that. So there's the base of all of the tops of our pancakes. I got a little carried away here. Some of them look like there's a little bit more than others, but that's okay. It's very artistic style, artistic expression. You just color it in how you want to. So we're gonna go ahead and grab another color. I'm gonna go a little bit darker, and I'm gonna turn my brush down a little bit for this. And then I'm just gonna, it kind of looks like it has a waffle type pattern in some spots, and I just want to kind of replicate the texture that is on the pancake. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add some squiggly lines and some texture here and there. This is completely random. There's no rhyme or reason for how I'm gonna do this. I'm just doing a lot of different like stripes and just like little griddle marks and things like that. And don't worry about how it looks because we're gonna go ahead and Gaussian blur it all together just to make it a little bit softer, just so it has a little bit of definition and the color. So we're just gonna go ahead and color in a little bit here and there. And it also has light spots on the top. So we're gonna grab one of these light colors, and we're gonna come in and just do the same thing. Get a little bit more of that color in there, some light spots and the dark spots. Now we're gonna do the same thing that we did with the butter. We're going to alpha lock the layer, and then we're going to turn the Gaussian blur on, and we're just gonna kind of blur it. We don't wanna blur it too much, just a little bit, so that it just kind of starts to blend together. All right, now we have one more pit to go, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the alpha lock, and I'm going to do the sides of the pancake. And the side of the pancake is this really light white color. So I'm gonna start there, and then I am gonna add some shading in after the fact. And you can even turn your background layer off if you want, so that you can really see through where you need to color in a little bit more as you're going. There's our stack of pancakes. We're gonna go ahead and bring our reference photo back in. I can turn the background back on. I'm going to grab the darker color so that we can add a little bit of definition to where our lines are. So I'm just gonna go ahead and draw on the tops of all the lines just to give us that little pancake kind of layer. Our layer. I think I do want to smudge it just a little bit. I'm going to grab my smudge tool and I'm holding it down so it smudges with my current brush, and I'm just going to soften it just a little bit. There's our delicious stack of pancakes. I think it's looking pretty good. I do want to add a little bit of shading to the plate. So what I'm gonna do is come over here and grab a gray color, and with that gray selected, I'm gonna go ahead and shade in the ring of the plate. You wanna make sure that you're on the correct layer, so add another color layer underneath your plate outline, and we're just gonna go through the edge of the inside ring, and then you're gonna go underneath the pancake too. And then we're gonna go ahead and go on the outside of the plate underneath. We're just gonna go down a little bit like this, and then you're gonna make it a little bit thicker the farther down you go. We're just gonna go down a little bit, not too far. All right, now that we have that, we're gonna go ahead and Gaussian blur that, and you're not gonna alpha lock it this time because we want it to be really subtle. So we're gonna go quite a ways like that. Now it looks a little bit more realistic, like there's a shadow under the plate as well as under the pancake stack and around the rim of the dish. Okay, to finish this off, we're gonna go ahead and turn off our reference photo and our background layer. We're gonna add one final layer underneath all of our colored in layers, and we're gonna grab True White, go into our airbrushes and get our hard airbrush, and we're gonna go ahead and outline this sucker. I'm okay with how that's going to look because it makes it look a little bit more like the actual sticker. I'm gonna go ahead and clip everything to the sticker outline. It's hard to see on the video, but that Gaussian blur that we did, it's outside of the sticker outline right now, and if I were to import that, it would make my file look pretty messy. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to fix that in a second. We're going to go ahead and fill the whole thing in like that. And now to alleviate this, we could take our eraser tool and we could get really detailed and get fine in there, but something that you can do instead, and this will work for a few things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of my layers and I'm going to group it, and I'm going to collapse the group. I don't need this reference layer anymore, so I can swipe and delete that. I'm going to duplicate this by swiping. Don't hit delete, hit duplicate. Now we have two groups. This group on the bottom is going to be our just in case group. So I'm actually going to uncheck it because I don't need to see it. What I'm going to do up here, I want to make sure that all the layers stay separated in my second group, but I'm going to put them all together on this one, except for the very back layer, my outline layer. So I'm just going to pinch all those layers on top together, and it's one layer now. And I'm gonna tap it and I'm gonna hit clipping mask. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna clip all of that artwork to this outline. And that made it so that our shadow is no longer out of bounds of our outline layer. I still have my individual layers. If I ever need to come back and make a correction or make a change, I can do that on these layers and then redo this one up here. You have everything that you need, your original artwork, and it all looks great. So there's our stack of pancakes for National Pancake Day. I hope you guys enjoyed that draw with me. I bring out a new draw with me every Wednesday, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you can be notified when I upload next. Stay tuned for my next video on Saturday, which is going to be a day in the lifestyle vlog. I hope you enjoy those as well, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye!